You're listening to the Sausha Davis Podcast, a show about overcoming fear and manifesting your dream life. Each week, we'll dive deep into real stories and tangible advice about spirituality, law of attraction, mindset, and money so that you can be your happiest, healthiest, and most abundant self. You ready? Here we go.
Hello, everyone. We are starting a new podcast, and our podcast is called Mystic Stories. This is going to be about all the mystic stories we come through using your intuition, it's using your intuition, destiny cards, anything in the spiritual realm of things. We're going to go over money manifesting. We'll go over all of that stuff. And we have Sausha here with me. Me and Sausha are creating this podcast together to just create a place to talk about all the mystic stuff that we love to talk about. And so welcome, Sausha. Thank you for creating this podcast with me.
I am so excited. We're going to talk all the things. I especially love talking about like manifestation, law of attraction, energy work, chakras, astrology. Oh God. I mean, all of and even like the stories, like what you're saying, like the mystic stories, like the things that happen to us, or like the angel numbers, or just like using your intuition. So I'm pretty stoked about this and just, sharing all the good stuff.
Me too. I'm super excited. And today we're going to be talking about how to create a miraculous solution. So we're going to tell stories about what we did when we were put into, a fear mindset or something bad happened, and how we got out of the situation by following our intuition and staying positive. So this is just like where you can learn that it's okay, bad things happen, but good things come after it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it's easy to spiral downward, especially when you're in a place of like lack, or if you're feeling like really, anxious or depressed or anything like that. You want to make sure that you're feeling, and we'll get into like grounding practices here towards the end, but making sure that you feel grounded, that you feel alive and abundant and energized, and just putting that, I don't necessarily want to say like toxic positivity, but having the right type of mindset so that you can acknowledge the bad and say, hey, I want to change this. How can I turn this into a better solution? So I'm excited. I have quite the story that I want to share, but before we get into my story, because I think yours is probably a good transition into my story.
Okay.
I want to share. So in a nutshell, I'll do a quick introduction of who I am.
Okay.
So my name is Sausha Davis. I am a Reiki master. I'm a life and business coach. I have a degree in psychology and sociology. So I have always been fascinated by like habits and how the brain works and how the mind works, energy healing. I mean, all of that good stuff, like using your intuition. I've been practicing and researching law of attraction for over a decade. I'll just say that it's probably closer to 15 years, but for as long as I can remember. And so I have had my own practice now for 5 years. I've been in the coaching I guess coaching industry, Reiki healing, things along those lines. And so, more recently, the story that I want to share, which Kelsey, I think yours will be a great transition into mine.
Oh, yeah.
Is how we've managed just in the last year to basically like sell everything and be able to travel the world. But I shouldn't say the world, the United States, who knows, maybe the world. But really trying to travel until we find like our dream location. And so there's a lot of trust. There's a lot of following your intuition in there, but there's also a lot of planning that went into that. And Kelsey, you were a big part of that. So if you want to share kind of how, our last encounter.
Yeah. Okay, of course. And then I'll do a little introduction about myself. So while we go into this, so I am Kelsey Onkka. I've been doing energy work since I was about 14 years old. So it's been my whole life. I've just been constantly doing this. And then I have an associate's degree in psychology as well. So that's why me and Sausha have so much in common. And then I also have an intuitive life coaching certificate. And I've been just doing this professionally for over 10 years behind the scenes, and now I'm ready to start talking about it. So going into what Sausha was talking about was she was bringing the horses out here because we were trying to help her so she can travel around, because we have horses, we don't mind boarding them. So Sausha came and she was like, all right, we're going to come out. And she texted me and I was like, do you want us to meet you? because they were coming out with 2 vehicles, and in the long run they ended up having to leave one behind because that vehicle wasn't working. So and Sausha, of course, she was like, we're going in one car, and we were like, well, we'll meet you because it's a 40-hour drive, right?
It was round trip when we went. Well, I think one way it was like 1,900 miles, just one way. And so there and back, I want to say we drove just over 4,000 miles. So with us and the kids and the horses and the dogs, I think it took us, what was it, 4 or 5 days to get out there just one way.
Yeah. And it took a while. Like we even were like, okay, we got to plan this. It'll take a couple days. And we only drove like what, 8 hours a day?
Yeah, I think you guys made half the trip in a couple of days, and it took us, I think, 3 days to get to that halfway point. Because the first day, I think we drove 10 hours. We did the longest day because that was the coolest day, because this was right in the middle of that freaking heat wave where it was,
Oh yeah. It was
100
so hot.
degrees, 100 plus degrees. Oh my God, it was miserable. Like they were doing heat warnings across the country, and we're like, oh, let's drive across the country with a bunch of horses.
Yep, that's what
But
you do.
we had to, because I was so pregnant. I was going to have a baby like any week. So it's like, we had to have that done before the baby came. And I think we had like 3 weeks before I was due. So there was really no time to waste, but
Yeah, I agree. It was like, you had to do it. You had that week and you're like, okay, we're going. And so Sausha had texted me, and I was like, well, let us meet you. Cause my destiny cards at that time said, you're going to be helping out a brother or a sister. Well, at the moment I was like, okay, who am I helping out? And then I figured out it was Sausha. So I was like, okay, I'm going to help Sausha out. I'm going to just text her. Me and my mom will meet up with her, and we will grab the horses. They can go back, get their camper, and then come back out towards us, because the whole plan was they wanted to come to the West Coast for a couple weeks. And so we of course got up, we left that one night and drove all the way to Bend, and then the next night we woke up and we drove all the way to Utah. Well, we finally get to Utah, we're all in Salt Lake, and we all book a hotel, and none of us can park at this hotel. Sausha can't park there, we can't park there, nobody can park at this hotel, and we all have giant trucks. So we're all like, this doesn't work out. So me and my mom finally find a parking spot, and it's more slanted downwards, and when you have a Ford truck, you should not do that. And so when we turned off the truck, it flooded our engine, and it had all these problems. And then we couldn't even get our truck started. And then Sausha had to find another hotel with her family somewhere else while our truck broke down. And we were also trying to find another hotel at the same time.
it was wild. Like I usually get pretty good luck with those. For those listening, if you've ever done like Priceline or Expedia, they'll do like these Priceline deals or whatever, and it'll tell you the hotel afterwards. And so anyways, it had shown a couple in the area that were like really nice hotels, and I was like, oh yeah, like I would love, like the odds of getting one of these is really great. And so then it confirmed that we got this really nice hotel, except for I thought it was the one 2 miles from where it was. It was the same brand of hotel, and it gave us the downtown location one. So the parking garage only had a 7-foot cap on like the height. And so none of us could park our trucks in there, and we're driving around with a freaking trailer. So then we went and dropped the trailer, dropped the horses off. But then in front of that hotel too, they were also doing that. They had that big concert thing going on. So like there was no parking, and then they had construction everywhere. So you would have had to park like a mile away basically to even get in this hotel. Oh, it was wild.
It was so bad. It was awful. And so then we like finally went in and asked for a refund, and they of course were not giving us a refund. And this hotel, they said it was a 5-star hotel. It totally had smoking in it. They lied about everything. It was definitely not, and like not a good place to stay. So it was definitely a lie. And so then we went back to the truck and tried to start it, and of course it didn't start. Well, luckily, because I sent Sausha my location, it showed that my location was the number 444. So if you know angel numbers, we all know that means to be strong. There's a solution, find the solution. So I tried to stay positive, but at that moment I was in panic. I totally had like a complete little, crying anxiety attack where I was just like, you know what, let's let this out. Let's let the emotions out. Let's deal with the emotions right now, because you're freaking out. So I dealt with my emotions, and then I calmed myself down. I did some deep breathing, and then I finally was like, okay, the angels are saying we're okay. There's a reason why we're okay. And so I just started getting into it, and I just I ordered AAA, and I was like, you know what, we'll just get the truck fixed, because the thing that we've always learned, me and Sausha, is you have to let go of things. You have to just let it go and move on. There's no point. So that was me letting go. I was like, I have to let go of this truck. I have to move on, and I have to find a miraculous solution. So we ended up finding a really nice Airbnb last minute at 11 p.m. And the owner waited till we got there to make sure we were okay. Then on top of it, we had the tow truck come in, and the guy said, I love Ford trucks. Can I try starting it? And our truck started right away. So it was just kind of like, oh, we had to just get out of that mind, get out of the life or death of, oh no, we have to let it go. So when you let go, when you close the book, that's what I did by calling the tow truck. I was like, I'm closing the book. I give up. Whatever. It's up to the universe. And then the universe provided and started the truck again. So we made it to our Airbnb, and the guy was there, and he was super nice. And we were just like, man, everything worked out perfectly. We didn't have to stay in that hotel. We got a really nice Airbnb, and the truck started. So there was a little miraculous solution. And then the next day we all wake up and we're like, we got to get going because it's really hot outside. And then the truck started not working again. And then we were like, Sausha and Will were like, we're coming behind you. It's not safe. You can't drive with the truck and trailer. And then we just were like, okay. And we drove behind them the whole way. And then we got to our next stop, and that was fine. We had no truck problems that day, of course. And so we made it to Idaho. It was super hot. We actually found a miraculous solution to stay there in a very affordable horse motel.
Yeah, that worked out pretty slick.
Yeah, it was perfect. Like, we didn't have any place to stay, and all the places were packed. And luckily I followed my intuition, did some research, found a really nice horse hotel that had a place for us to stay and the horses. So we could all stay in one place. And it was super nice to like all be together and not be frazzled about the drive. And then we woke up the next day and we're like, okay, last day, we can make it home. And I think Sausha and Will were like, okay, we can do this. We got this. And so we woke up and we got the truck started. And of course, our truck didn't start. And so I was like, okay, the truck isn't starting. Well, luckily that day, I did a meditation, and I was like, I'm setting the intention that I'm getting home. No matter what, I'm envisioning myself arriving on our property. I don't care. I have to do that. So I did that meditation, and then I sat down and we started calling in all of our people. We asked Sausha, we asked all of our friends, anybody in the spiritual realm to just send us positive energy to make sure we get home. There's a miraculous solution to get home. So that's all I kept saying. And we called AAA again, and I let it go. And I just had this intuition where it was like, Kelsey, get out of the car, act like your truck's broken. Somebody's going to help you. And I stood out of my car, and this really nice guy came up, and he was like 6'5", and he came up and he was like, what's wrong with your truck? And I explained it to him, and he was a diesel mechanic, and he looked over my entire truck and he said, your truck's in perfect mechanical condition. There's nothing wrong with your truck. It should start. And so that put the idea in my head of, there's nothing wrong with our truck. We can get home. So we called AAA, and he came out, and I was like, I don't know why, let's just jumpstart it. If we can get the truck started, we can make it home. We got the truck started. We didn't turn it off the entire way home. We had 8 hours to drive, and we just drove home the entire way. We didn't turn off the truck. We didn't do anything. We just drove home, but we made it home. And then we brought the truck to the mechanic, and the mechanic was like, it is amazing that you made it home, because this part is well over $2,000, and we still don't have the truck back to this day. And it's been 2 months. And serious, because like he can't get it to start now. He's like bought the part and fixed it, and he goes, it's still not working. And so we're just like, okay, there's something else going on, but we're just trying to find the miraculous solution. But no matter what, the universe sent us to go help Sausha and made us get back home on time. And you just got to trust that there's a reason why you go places. Because I really just trusted that I was meant to be there. I was meant to help Sausha, and it's okay.
Yeah. No, I love that. Even leading up to that whole trip, like when we were talking about even bringing the horses out there, it was so funny because I had them at a different boarding facility, and not that things were terrible. There was just something, when you have like that gut instinct where it's like, something's not right. They shouldn't be here, or you need to do something differently. And so I was kind of, setting the intention that the perfect place at the perfect time would come. And, I would find it, and it would make sense, and it would be easy. And then I shit you not, like I think it was like 2 or 3 days later, you guys had mentioned like, well, what happens if you bring your horses out here? And I was like, no way, and I was like, this is too good to be true. So I kind of just like put it on the back burner, but then it kept like resurfacing. And you guys, for those listening, if what you resist will persist and grow bigger. So the voice in my head that said like, hey, you really need to figure something out with this. Like it just kept growing. And it was to the point where like, I couldn't ignore it. And then that's when I was like, all right, let's set something up and we'll find a way to road trip out there. And then even with like the Tahoe. So the plan is that I was going to drive the Tahoe, pull in the horses, and my husband was going to drive our F-250, pull in the camper. And then that way we had places to stay, and we were going to, kind of do like the road trip thing, where we didn't have to do like hotels. We were just going to stay in our RV. But the Tahoe kept having issues. It kept having truck issues. And so we took it in, got it fixed. And then same thing happened. It would just die randomly on the side of the road. They said it needed a new fuel pump, but we didn't have time to get a new fuel pump before the trip, which even talking with you, it was a blessing in disguise that the Tahoe had issues prior to leaving, because how terrible would it have been if we were like driving through the mountains or 100+ degree weather and the truck broke down the side of the road with 2 horses in it, like that would have been awful. So it was really a blessing in disguise that it happened ahead of time. And, I think that was divinely guided, if you will, because being 37 weeks pregnant, pulling some horses, I just don't think that, with a truck breaking down, that would have been a really bad situation to be in. And so I do think that like my guides and my angels and things were looking out for me, and that happened for a reason. And so we ended up just taking the truck with the horses and the kids and the dogs, and we all got in the car and we all headed towards you. And even being in, because we were just outside of Salt Lake City when that whole hotel incident happened. And the same thing happened with us. We booked it and it was just a no-go. And then they had that event in the area. So all of the hotels, everything was booked. Like that you guys found that Airbnb was magical. And me and Will are sitting there and we're panicking because I'm like, there's no hotels. There is no hotels. And we had our dogs. And so we had to have like a dog friendly hotel was the other thing. And I think the cheapest dog friendly hotel had like some executive suite for like $700 or something a night. And I was like damn near considering it because I'm like, we can't just sleep in our freaking car. Well, we could have, it wouldn't have been that big of a deal. Hell, I should have just went and bought a tent at freaking Walmart and, gone to a campground or something.
I know, right?
So we ordered some pizza. We sat on the tailgate and ate some pizza in a parking lot. And then, you know how you just have like these random ideas like pop into your head. So like all of a sudden I was like, I'm going to check. I think it was Expedia, something like just popped into my head and was like, you need to check Expedia right now. And so I said, Will, hold my pizza. I'm going to go look one more time. And sure as shit, in that amount of time, one hotel came open and it was only like $150 for the night. And I booked it. And I don't even know if I told you this, Kelsey, but anyway, so we get to the hotel and I'm not kidding you. There was one opening within 2 hours of where we were at. And I booked it. And it was only about 2 miles from where we were. And so I said, Will, we got to get in the car. We got to go because I don't know if this was a glitch or something bad, but we need to go check into this place before they change their minds. So everybody finished their pizza. We got in the car. We drove a few miles. We get there. And this lady, her phone is ringing off the hook. And I had to wait like 10 minutes before I could even check in. And the whole time she's just answering and saying, nope, we're full. Nope, we're full. Nope, we're full because of that big event that they were having. And so I checked in and she looks at me and she goes, oh, you lucky duck. And I was like, what? She goes, you're the one that snuck in when I was rearranging rooms. She goes, that room is technically not even available, but you somehow managed to book it. And I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me. And she goes, don't worry, I'll honor it. I actually have this it was like a king executive suite. So she's like, I actually have this suite that's available. If you don't mind, if I do a free upgrade, there's just a couple of stains on the carpet from when she said somebody spilt coffee grounds or something and they have to replace the carpet. And I was like, well, no, as long as it's clean, I don't care. She goes, oh, no, it's clean. It's just, there's a big stain on the floor. And so we got upgraded into a king suite with like the king bed, the fold out couch. I mean, you name it for the same price. And like, is that luck or is that just, you know what I mean? Like that was perfect timing.
Yeah.
It was incredible. And so we got a better deal than the original deal. We ended up getting a refund on that non-refundable deal. And we got upgraded into a king suite, all within that night. And then, Will ended up leaving to go help you guys. And then your guys' truck ended up starting, thank God. And, we were back in business the next day.
Yeah. And like, it was like, we stayed positive. It was like and this was all during Mercury retrograde. So you guys all understand that when Mercury is in retrograde, nothing goes right. This is definitely one of those stories. But we still made miraculous solutions and decided to make the most of it because Sausha had to get her horses out here. And we knew that it was her destiny to come out here. We just knew it was. So we were just helping her and trying to, in the cards. It was in her destiny cards to come out here. And that's like really where it all started. Was she was like, I want to travel. And I was like, no, it's in your destiny card to travel. And then she just took the opportunity. And that's the whole point. Know your destiny cards. So then if you have traveling cards, take advantage of them. So then you travel. And that's what Sausha's doing. And she's traveling all over and living the dream that everybody wants to live.
Yeah, it was, I mean, it's pretty cool. And without your guys' help, without a lot of people's help, you know, my husband did so much work to get that house and the place to be sold as quickly as it was. And then we had to, you know, downsize all of our personal belongings. I found homes for 3 of the horses and, you know, we had to, find homes for the chickens and have temporary homes for the cats. And then we brought the dogs with us. And I mean, there was a lot of planning that went into it. It wasn't just like, you know, I think it took about a year of planning actually, because this last year was when me and Will went on that big road trip through the West. And while we were out on that road trip, something inside me was like, you need to move out West. You're not meant to be in the Midwest, which was really funny because about 2 weeks before that, we pulled our house off the market because we were actually going to move last year, but all of the deals that we had worked out last year fell through. Yeah. And I think that happened for a reason because we would not be here today had we bought that house last year, you know, and I would just be unhappy.
Everything worked out. Yeah, no, it really does. Cause like everything worked out. And it's funny because a year ago, you thought you were just supposed to move from one house to another house, but you were actually supposed to move and travel around and move to, you know, the West and like me, like the Pacific Northwest. And like me, I was the same way. I just like kind of woke up one day when I was in Colorado and I was like, I'm not meant to be here anymore. And let's leave. And it's really like fun and exciting, but it takes a lot of steps. And the universe is on your side. But if you also like have blocks, everybody has blocks they have to walk through and barriers they have to break down. Like you don't even realize how much you have to weave when you leave your house because you're leaving all of those people behind kind of, but you're also like taking advantage and you're going, I'm going to go on to this whole new life. And it's a lot for people to do that. Like it's a lot to like close the door and open a new one. So I'm just proud you did it. I'm happy you did it because I realized we did the first podcast I did with you was almost a year ago on the 18th. It was 1 year ago.
Oh, no way. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I was like, it was all meant to be. We were all meant to connect and come together. And now you're all traveling around and doing what you love to do. And I'm doing what I love to do. And we both helped each other do it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, this is so cool. And I like with the traveling, I don't even know where we're going. Like, I just want to travel and this is where I think that like the following your gut, trusting the intuition, taking the next step, letting the universe kind of divinely guide you, because me and my husband want to buy a place. We just don't. There's so many beautiful places out West. And I know Kelsey, me and you have talked about this. Do we want to be in Oregon? Do we want to be in Washington? Do we want to be in Montana? Do we want to be in Idaho? You know, where do we want to be? There's so many beautiful places. And we actually, one of the upcoming podcasts, what we should do is talk about this astrology and your location, the astro charts, because there are places where you will do really well based on your birth chart and astrology and all those things. And Montana is one of them for me, and Oregon is one of them for me. And I believe they are for my husband too. So we're just kind of traveling around until the right place comes up at the right time, at the right price. And it's going to be easy, just like everything else has kind of been. not that it's been easy, it's been simple. There's a lot of beliefs and blocks that you have to work through, but the actions themselves are relatively simple. It's just, sometimes your mindset and things like that can hold you back if you're not in the right headspace to be able to take on those steps or those challenges. And so we're just out traveling around until the right place kind of is presented to us. So trying to keep an open mind. And that's not something that I think he could have said 10 years ago. He was a very analytical, black and white. Everything is very structured, very routine. And for him to be kind of flying by the seat of his pants and trusting the universe with me and this never ending road trip that we're on is pretty cool. It just kind of shows you that people, they really can change once they just kind of let go of the fear and just trust that things will work out.
Yeah, exactly. And that's like what happened when we moved out here from Colorado. We just were like, we're moving. I don't know why. And then we drove, we didn't even go to Oregon before we flew here. We're like, let's see if we like it first. And so we had a 4-day trip to Oregon. And after we came here and we left, we're like, we're moving to Oregon. Are we crazy? We've only been there for 4 days. But it was totally worth it. And like, even my mom, we sit here and talk about it. And we drove our horses out here like Sausha did, and we dropped them off at somebody that was watching them for us. And we like went around and met all these boarders, and this lady was a real estate agent, and she goes, I have a house for sale. It's for sale on this road. And me and my mom drove down that road, and it's the road I live on today. And it's just like, you follow your intuition, you always get to where you're meant to be. So that's what Sausha's doing. And I just am waiting for her to drive down that road, and she just knows what road she wants to live on. And that's what's going to happen to her. And it's just, you manifest that way. You just know. And like here, and with the astro chart, I would love to go in that, and we'll do a podcast about it. I can even like explain yours or explain mine, but like I have better astrology in the Pacific Northwest. And that's why it's so much easier for me to manifest and so much easier for me to do other things. When I lived in Colorado, I lived on my Saturn line. You don't want to live in your Saturn line. It's not fun. It's awful. So it's like move around. If you don't feel like the people around you are good people for you, it's because your astrology is not good. So we will definitely go into that the next podcast, because it really helps you figure out that where you're meant to be.
Yep.
And like, you guys are meant to be over here, because I feel like you manifest really well. It's like the more you came over here, the more you just manifested all these amazing things. Like they traveled and saw the coolest things when they were here.
Yeah, we found that waterfall. We went to the coast. We even saw like starfish and like all kinds of really cool stuff. We went and seen the big giant redwoods, and that was it was magical. And I was so bummed because we wanted to like drive back through that park on the way back, and we missed the turn, and we drove about an hour. I was like, aren't the trees supposed to be getting bigger, not smaller? And I was like, damn it, I missed it. But then I was like, well, this is just an opportunity for me to have to come back now, because I have to spend like a whole day at that park.
Oh yeah, you have to. And it's the best thing. If you guys haven't gone to the redwoods, go to the redwoods. It's like the energy is so sacred. You go through there, and when you walk with the trees, you're just like, I get what everybody means. Nothing else exists in that moment, because it's just so quiet and serene, and it like heals you and cleanses your body. Like, talk about grounding, go to the redwoods. You want to get grounded, you want to be in your body, you go to the redwoods. And that's the best thing about everything. Like in any panic, make sure you're grounded, because the panic is what makes us make rational decisions. And if we just calm down, we'll be like, oh no, it's actually better to do it a little bit calmer, and then we can follow our intuition, because the fear prevents us from following it.
Yeah, our fear puts us in like a fight, flight, or freeze mode. So what we do is, like, if we fight, that's usually like you resort to anger, you yell, and you're just not really like coming from a place of love. You're coming from a place of lack. Or you freeze, where you do nothing. It's like paralysis analysis. Or you, what is it? Fight, flight. A flight is like running away, like just being like scared out of your pants and like retreating back to what's comfortable or what, or turning around and going the other direction. Otherwise, a lot of times you can like blame others and things like that. Just think of like, being afraid and going back in your shell, essentially. But going back to the redwoods quick before we get into grounding practices, because I would love to hear your grounding practice, and then I can share a little bit of what I do to help me get grounded. But I don't think the listeners understand the vast size of these redwoods. I'm talking like 30, 40 plus feet around. Like, it would take 20 people linking arms to make a circle around some of these trees. That is how gigantic they are. And I'm talking hundreds of feet tall, not like your typical evergreens that you see in like the Rocky Mountains and things like that. Like these trees are the biggest tree I think you will ever see in your life. Like they're bigger than cars.
Yeah, they are. And they're amazing. I always look at it as like, I feel like the dinosaurs lived in the redwoods and that's what the trees are made for. And then we go there and we just feel like we're ants.
Yes. You're just
Yeah.
tiny.
Yeah.
Tiny.
But yeah, exactly. But you feel like it's also like you realize you're like, man, the world's so much bigger. It makes it,
Yep.
you look at everything and you're like, dang, you can go bigger. Trees go bigger than you ever think. So of course we can too.
Yep, exactly. It just kind of puts everything in perspective, because I think sometimes we'll get so caught up in our own head and our own drama that we forget that we're just this human having a human experience on this big, beautiful planet, and that there's bigger things out there than just our problems. And sometimes getting out of your own head and looking at the universe or looking at the world or looking at these big giant redwoods just kind of put things in perspective for you.
Yeah, it makes you like see, oh, there's so many other things in this world. Work doesn't matter. All these things don't matter. This tree matters.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And like that, this is like great for going into grounding, because when I talk about getting grounded and in my body, I am an airhead. I'm a Gemini. I can be up thinking about doing 20,000 different things. And so my favorite thing about getting grounded is I get out the oak app and I do some deep box breathing. I do the box breathing and then I do the deep breathing. And so that really gets my soul in my body. And then because I don't breathe out of my nose, I'm a mouth breather. So I'm like, oh, I need to get grounded. So I start doing the deep breathing, and that's what helps me breathe in through my nose, out through my mouth. And then after that, I sage my whole house. I go through and I sage my whole house, and I just get clean all the energy out. And I'm like, okay, all that energy may leave this property. I'm going to be grounded and safe. And then I also like say an intention, and I just always say like, I'm grounded and clear, and the energy around me is completely cleansed.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I love that. Yeah. My grounding practices are pretty similar. One of the things that I love to do though, is walk around barefoot, as weather permits, but going outside and literally like putting your feet in the ground or on the grass, in the sand, in the water, anything that like connects you with the earth through your feet. And that's kind of, if you think about it, if you think of yourself as like an oak tree or a tree, you want to have your roots planted firmly in the ground. So envision like your feet being roots and you're like grounding yourself. They're digging deep into the earth. So I really love doing that, or just some type of meditation where I'm listening to nature and the birds and the bees and all that good stuff. Another thing that I do is I have like grounding blend essential oils, and I will rub those on the balls of my feet or on the arch of my feet. I'll put them on some of your like pressure points, like your wrist or behind your ears, just having those grounding essential oils. Other things that I do is I am obsessed with crystals and stones and things like that. And so I will use some of the darker colored stones, the blacks and the grays and the browns and things like that. And you can wear bracelets. Like right now I'm actually wearing a tiger's eye bracelet. And so that kind of represents like courage and confidence. But there are certain grounding ones that you can wear too. So if you feel really flighty or up in your head, you can also wear crystals or stones as jewelry, or just carry them around in your pocket as a reminder and to absorb the energy, the grounding energy that is emitted from them. Because each stone and even oils, they have a vibration. And we'll get into this on other episodes too, because everything has an energy to it. Everything has a vibration to it. And so when you can align yourself with the energy of a grounding oil or a grounding stone, it helps you to feel more grounded. Okay. Along with the practices of, like meditation, deep breathing, box breathing, visualizations, putting your feet on the ground. There's tons of things that you can do, but those are some of my favorites.
Oh yeah. And I do the same thing with the crystals too. I put on all my bracelets, I put on my necklace, and I have a necklace that has bloodstone. It has an anchi. It has all these certain stones that just hold my energy and let me know that I'm loved and taken care of. And so any crystal or stone, it really does help you get grounded. And I agree. It's like, and I love what you said about putting your feet in the ground. That's a great idea. Like just go outside, feel the earth, get connected to the core, So then you know that you are connected, because we are the earth. Like, we are all one. It's really, we are part of the
Yep.
earth. And so it's like, you might as well just use the energy and be connected to it. So, and then the other thing I wanted to go into is we're going to just recommend a song. So I'm a music person. I listen to music all the time. And I love to always recommend a song or something just to like get your mind out of it. So my song today is Somewhere Over the Rainbow. And I love to sing this song because it reminds me that there are miracles, and there's always somewhere over the rainbow where it's fine and that we can create it.
Oh, I love that. Oh, let's see. The song that I have been singing to my kids is the You Are My Sunshine. And I don't know. I just love that song. I just feel like, they make me happy when skies are gray. So anytime that like I get into my own head about things, I always look at my kids, or anytime things get hard with like personal development, or anytime I feel like off track with like my own spirituality or anything like that, I just look at my kids and I'm like, wow, okay, like these are the reason that I'm here. This is why I've shifted into this. Like, it just puts things in perspective, and it just makes me, it's like that really strong why, why are you doing this? Well, my why is, not only do I feel like this is my destiny, but I do feel like I am the leader of my life, and I want to be the best role model I can for my children. Because I don't feel like I had that growing up. And so, if I didn't have it, I want to be it and embody it. And so You Are My Sunshine is something I always like sing to my kids. It just helps me like put things back into perspective. But the one person like artist that I'm obsessed with, this may come as a shock to some people, but like right now, I just love Luke Combs. Like, he is just like a rags to riches story that I just think is so cool. I don't know if you know much about him. He's a country singer. He's got a ton of really awesome songs out there right now. It'd be hard to pick just one. But I do love the Crazy Girl song that he sings. There's just a lot of them that he sings, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's me. But his story is so cool too, because he just one day, I think he was in like his mid-20s, decided he was going to like play guitar, picked up a guitar, started singing. And now look at him. He's got like, he's a millionaire. He's got tons of records. He's always in like the top 10 hits. It's just like, I love those stories where somebody just all of a sudden is like, I've always wanted to play guitar. It's like that intuition just like puts a guitar in your lap. And the next thing you know, it's like your divine, it's like that's what you were meant to do. And it was just such a cool story.
Yeah, no, I agree completely. And he followed his intuition. You always have to follow your intuition. I know it sounds crazy to pick up a guitar and sing, but that is what your intuition is telling you to do. And he followed it, and he made money out of it. And that's what I always try to tell people, even Taylor Swift, even any singer, all of them followed their intuition, just kept following it, and they made themselves successful. That's exactly what we're doing. Everybody's going to do it. You just got to follow what you want. And yes, sometimes it seems crazy, but the craziest things work. Like Amazon Prime was known as crazy when it first started, right? Yeah. And now it runs the world.
Yep.
Yep. So you got to keep following it. And then, and then I just want to say, like, should we talk about like destiny cards, and you can talk about your money manifesting? Like, so we close it out that way. Okay. Okay, so I'm Kelsey Onkka. I'm known as Destiny Clearings with Kelsey. I offer destiny readings. I offer destiny reports. I help you understand your destiny and what you're here to do. And I do that. And destiny cards are an old mathematical calculation that uses astrology, numerology, and a deck of cards. And I help you understand what you're here to do. I have helped a lot of people start their businesses. I've helped a lot of people find themselves. So like, that's what I'm here to do. If you want to work with me, that's how you find me. I'm on Instagram at Destiny Clearings with Kelsey. And then I have a website called destinyclearingswithkelsey.com. And then now you can go.
I love that. Okay. So I am Sausha Davis. My website is sashadavis.com. It's SAUSHADAVIS.com. And we'll put both of our links in the show notes here. So if you want to book a session with either of us, just scroll down and you can click the link there. You can also find me on Instagram at sasha.davis. And so right now, I usually offer programs, 3, 6, 3, 6 months, 3 month, 6 month, or year-long programs. But actually, until my next program launches in October, I'm going to be doing one-off sessions. So 1 hour long sessions, either Reiki healing, chakra rebalancing, or life and business coaching, intuitive life and business coaching. So we can talk all things money manifestation, law of attraction, energy work, chakras, past stories, past lives. I mean, there's nothing off limits that comes into there. So if you feel like you're stuck in any area of your life and you want to manifest something, or you desire for, a bigger, better, whatever that is, let's hop on the phone. Let's talk about it. You will leave feeling like a new person, I promise you. So the link is actually on my website for that. And you can also find it on Instagram. You can either do a Reiki chakra session, or you can do a life or business coaching call, which would be anything with the money, the business, the career, life. Nothing is really off limits for that. So that is how you can work with me. And you can also find my podcast on manifestation, just law of attraction, money, all of that kind of good stuff over at the Sausha Davis podcast. But definitely hit us up here. This is going to be the things that are much more destiny cards, astrology, mystical stories, law of attraction. I mean, all of the energy work, all of the things that you don't really hear people talking about. That's what we're gonna talk about here.
Yeah. And we're going to try to do weekly episodes. So we come in like everybody has like a little guide, because we're just all winging it too. So might as well help everybody else out.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And I always say, like, I'm trying to remember, I used to have like a quote where at the end I always say, like, today try to stay positive. So I'm trying to think of an intention. Do you have an intention, Sausha, for the week?
My intention for everybody is just to get out there, be bold, be brave, do the things that you want to do. Don't take no for an answer, and just stay in your own lane. Me and Kelsey are both, equestrians. We both have horses. And so it's, what I want you to visualize is a horse with blinders on. So the thing's covering its eyes so that the only way it can look is forward. So just keep putting one foot in front of the other, keep moving forward. Don't look at what anybody else is doing. Don't compare your grass to Susie Q's grass on the other side. Water your own grass and keep going.
Yeah, agreed. I agree with what Sausha said. And then I'm going to set the intention for the week. And we're just going to say that I'm ready to give and receive love. I attracted my soul tribe, and I'm thankful for everyone in my life. Because then say this intention every day, and it will really pull in that feeling, because that's what you want. You want to be happy. You want to live in happiness. You want to live in contentment, and you want to just create more manifesting. So hold that vision. Listen to what Sausha said. Keep your blinders on. Focus on what you're doing. Don't compare yourself, and stay positive, because it might feel like it's rough right now, but it will get better in 6 months.
Yeah. We're all feeling it right now.
Yeah, we all are.
Well, I loved this. Thank you, Kelsey, for doing this with me. I'm so glad that we were able to kind of share this, and I'm excited for what's to come. And for everybody listening, I would love if you could just take a screenshot, share it to your social media, tag Kelsey, tag me, share it with a friend. And if you feel called, I'd love for you to leave a honest review of what you loved about this episode.
Yeah, that would be perfect. And we love all those reviews, and we can use them, because we want to make this a big podcast where everybody comes and listens to it and, finds out all the interesting stuff about the mystic side of life.
Yep. Sharing all the stories, all the good stuff. So thanks again for all of our listeners for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week.
See you next week.
Hey, thanks for tuning in to today's episode of the podcast. I am so grateful for all of my listeners, and I wanted to quick share with you ways to work with me this fall. So as you know, the upcoming Lake of the Ozarks retreat is October 7th through 10th. Spaces are limited, so head on over to sashadavis.com or set up a free clarity call to see if there are spaces left or for more information. Now, I am offering something for a limited time. I am offering one-on-one life and business coaching sessions, along with one-on-one Reiki and chakra intuitive healing sessions. So if this interests you, head on over to sashadavis.com. I have single sessions available or packages of 3 sessions available. So if you're looking for ways to work with me, you can attend a retreat and have some fun and some adventure in your life, along with some spirituality and some personal development. Or if you're working on things in your life or your business and you want help or advice on those, hit me up there. Otherwise, if you're looking to heal some patterns, balance your chakras, things along those lines, or just channel some Reiki energy to help calm, rest, relax, things along those lines. If you're looking for some clarity, head on over sashadavis.com, book your sessions now. And if you have questions, as always, hit me up. I'd be more than happy to help. So have a kick-ass day, guys. We'll catch you next episode.